Hey friends, this is Steven with Make It Rad. Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm back in the Airstream, and what we're going to be doing is a quick, simple installation of the Mopeka Pro liquid propane tank check sensor. What this does is it allows you to check your tank levels at any time via your phone app. So you're going to want to have your phone handy. And also there is a hardware module that allows you to hit the button and check every time, but that's not something that I feel we need. We always have our phones on us, and it's, Internet of Things. This is really a Bluetooth module, so you just download the Mopeka Pro Tank Check app. It's available for iOS and Android, and you'll just sync that up with the device, put it on your tank, and that's it. One other thing that I should add specific to the Airstreams is these do come with little clips, and I'll shoot a picture of what's inside the box that is needed to lift the propane tanks up because the sensor goes on the very bottom of the tank. There's some nuances about how the propane tanks mount on the front of Airstreams in particular, at least the late model ones. A lot of them have trays. This one has little rings welded on the frame, and I'll show you that as well and why I recommend picking up. This is the Mopeka Halo. So what you would use is this in place of the little things that lift the tank. This goes around the bottom of the tank, and I'll show you how that works. And it really makes it much easier for just in particular the way the Airstream mounts the propane tanks up front on the frame. So stick with me and we'll run through the install real quick. And I'll also give you a quick review of my thoughts and how the app looks, how accurate I think these are, and overall how happy I am with the product. Thanks so much. Stay tuned. A quick look at what comes in the box. You have the sensor, you have the Mopeka Sonic grease, and that is just grease that goes between the sensor and the propane tank, and then you have these 3 aluminum standoffs that you would put around the bottom ring of your propane tank. This is what provides the lift that is needed for most mounting situations where you have the propane tank sitting on either a tray or some type of the frame. This lifts up the propane tank to allow that sensor to be on the bottom without it getting squished. And then you have your standard instruction booklet. Now, I mentioned in the intro, for this particular installation, I do highly recommend getting the Mopeka Tank Halo. This goes all the way around that bottom ring and spaces it evenly. And I did have initially concerns about, well, what if water gets in there? But there are holes surrounding the bottom of this. Let's see if we can show some more. All the way around, that will allow water to drain out. So overall, I think it's a pretty good solution, and we'll get forward with the installation. So we're outside at the front of the Airstream where the propane tanks are, and hopefully you can all hear me okay. We do have some utility companies out trimming trees today, so that's wonderful for the audio. But one thing I did mention earlier was the use of the tank halo and why I would recommend that. So if you look at how Airstream mounts the propane tank to the frame, these are just rings that are welded onto the frame. There's not support all the way along the bottom or the bottom of the tank. So these clips that Mopeka includes, you would have to put them on the tank and make sure that they're spaced perfectly to where they will support the tank and lift it off of the frame. Whereas using the halo allows you to just place that on the bottom of the tank and right in there, and you obviously don't have to worry about the rotation at all. And I think one of the other advantages to this solution that makes it worth the extra, $15 or so, is this is made out of rubber, and it will probably less likely to cause rust on the frame as you're bouncing around the road, and those are digging in over time and wearing into the frame. So we'll see how that works out, but I do recommend, if you have an Airstream that has this type of mounting system, to go ahead and purchase the Halo. Otherwise, you could probably get by with those clips or find some other solution to space that out. So here we have the Mopeka application. This is the iOS version, but I imagine the Android would look very similar. I've already added the one sensor, and what we're going to do here is go through and I'll show you how to add a sensor. So all you need to do, and I recommend doing this before you put it on the actual tank, is come in here and hold the sync button. The instructions say 5-10 seconds, but that should be enough to do it, and it should find it within the application. And there you can see the new tank sensor. And I recommend, in my case, these are 30-pound tanks, so what I'm going to go ahead and do immediately is, and it's saying it's empty. It's funny, I'm actually putting this on an empty tank. And you can see the update rates and a little more information if you dig in there. But what I'm looking for is the tank size. So what you do is you go back, once you click on the tank information, you click this gear up here, and you want to make sure that you have the correct tank size. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to 30-pound vertical right off the bat before I even put it on the tank. And then the rest of this stuff I leave in there. I prefer percentage, but you can do centimeters or inches. This is obviously propane. Sensor rate update, that's plenty. And then you can also set a threshold. Like if you want it to send you a notification when the tank gets below 20%, you can adjust that higher or lower to your preferences. But I just leave that there. And from here, obviously it's saying that this is empty because it's just sitting on the table here. But what we will do is go ahead and I'll show you guys how quick and easy it is to just slap that on the bottom there, apply a little bit of the sonic grease, and you'll be on your way. All right, friends, so we've moved to the garage today. It is super loud outside, so I just set up real quick next to the Tundra, the trusty Airstream tow vehicle, and we'll just go ahead and get started on getting this sensor in here. So all you do is you take a little bit of the Mopeka sonic grease, and you're gonna wanna clean off the tank. I just cleaned the whole thing, but really you only need to clean the bottom, but hey, I was there. So you just clean this off, and you use about a pea size little dab of this. This will come with a little cover. You just pop this cover off. Hopefully you can see that when you pop around. And that little part in the middle, that little black part that's between those two magnets is what you just want to put a dab of this grease on. So you just put a dab on there. And if you buy 2 of these, you really only need to open the 1 packet because there's more than enough. More than enough of this to spread across that little sensor there. This isn't an exact science, I don't think. You just kind of want to dab it on there. And then this next part's a little challenging. You just want to try to center this as much as you can on here. I don't know how picky it is, and it does show you in the app if you've got it close to center. But the one thing I've noticed is just like even moving the tank, that it still moves around a little bit. So I think you just want to kind of eyeball it, get it in there about where it looks like it's centered. The nice thing about having it here is I can roll it and see if it's moving around, but that looks pretty good. I'll just give it a little twist, and that's it. So one quick follow-up to the installation that I wanted to show you is you can go into each one of these, and you're going to want to verify that you've got the position of the sensor under sensor position here. Focus in there. And that will expand to this menu, and it gives you 2 kind of like levels and representation of the bottom of the tank and where that sensor is. But the tricky thing here is this assumes that your propane bottle is perfectly level. So even without moving the sensor on the propane bottle, if I was to tilt the propane bottle, you can see those 2 levels go way off. And then it looks like, well, man, your sensor's way off, but it's not. It's still right in the center of the tank. This sensor just assumes that the tank is level. So unless you have a perfectly level place you're using, that's going to be like impossible to get in there. You just want to make sure it's in the center. It's not that, I've seen people move these around. It's not that critical. You just want it kind of close on when you're on like a flat table. Obviously, I'm in my garage here. It's a little bit sloped, so that's not going to be perfectly aligned. But key to remember is that it's assuming this is level. You move this, it's going to move on the app without the sensor actually moving on the bottom. So don't try too hard to get that thing perfect. You can see now it's registering 13%. I pretty much used everything I could in this tank, but just wanted to follow up there. Don't get hung up on that. It's really a simple install procedure. Just eyeball it on the bottom there, and you should be pretty well sorted. We're back at the Airstream. For the final step of the installation, you just want to take your tank, make sure everything is ready to go at your mount. And if you're using the clips, you can clip those on, or if you're using the halo ring, just go ahead and pop that right on there. Set your tank in, and you're all set. So overall, we're actually quite pleased with this system. It's easy to install, it works on your mobile device, and it allows you to check your propane levels without having to take, the cover off and lift each one and kind of try to gauge how full or empty it might be. Quick, simple solution that'll work across all different types of trailers, campers, those types of things. You can use them for your barbecues at home. Just an overall quite simple, neat solution. If you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing more of you soon. Cheers.